get together a little less than an hour from right now. And Clemson's a 13.5-point favorite. If you want to watch the game, it's actually going to be on the ACC network kicking off at 7:30. So we can all check it out. This is a game for Clemson to hopefully show up and show out and maybe turn some things around. I will say this, and my greatest hope right now is that Clemson will actually come in and seize the moment. Seize the moment, do what you can, and just don't allow whatever has went on to continue to go on. And if it does, well, some changes would need to be made, but we'll dive into that. Hey, listen, I'm going to tell everybody who is in here now. If you're in here now, you're probably on here just a moment ago when I went live, and I had a cable that was unhooked and I didn't know it. So I went ranting for like 5 minutes and there was no sound, and the chat section was hilarious. But that proves to you that I have the chat section off. The chat section's on right now, but I'm about to turn it off in just a second. If you love talking Clemson football or watching someone ramble while not knowing that their mic is not hooked up while talking about Clemson football, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel. It is free. It is free. Also, I want to tell you, a lot of people has been joining this channel. There's a join button below this video, and it's really affordable per month to join and support, because I'm an independent. So if you like what I'm doing and you want to do that, I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all the people who has joined and subscribed. It means a lot to me. So let's dive into this game. Oh yeah. Another college football podcast. That's my other channel where I talked about college football. I said that I could see Arkansas going in and making it a game against Tennessee. And I don't know if you're watching the game or check the score. Right now, Tennessee is up 20-17 over Arkansas. Arkansas has been giving them all that they can handle. Indiana's beating Oregon right now, 27-20, with about 6.5 minutes left. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. Good for them. And I think they're about to score again, but you came here to talk about Clemson football, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, look, we know that this season that we wanted, the season that we wanted 6 weeks ago, I think it was about 6 weeks ago, was the right off the top of my head, was the LSU game. And before the game kicked off, we know the hype. That hype is gone. Whether you bought in or not, I bought in because of the roster, but I also paralleled it with, if they can't get it going with this roster, this actually proves we have a lot of problems at Clemson. Well, sitting at 2-3 going into play, the number 88 ranked team in the country lets us know that there's a lot of problems in Clemson, and that 16-18, it's 9 and 7 years ago. And it's perfectly clear that that's over. So what can we talk about for tonight? What is there to look forward to for tonight? Well, first off, we need to stick with what I've been saying for a while now. Make the plays simple. For Cade, make them simple. It doesn't matter what he's supposed to be able to do right now. It matters what he does. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if y'all saw this today, UCLA, who was 0-4 and fired their head coach, and then the DC and the OC left, or whatever happened there. Last week, they had Rick Neuheisel's son. Guy found out he's going to be running the offense this week. Had 2 days to prepare, beat Penn State. Today, the guy called against Michigan State. I know they're not a great team, but remember, UCLA only has 1 win this season. He went out and put on a clinic. Why am I bringing this up? Jerry Neuheisel is in the middle of a program that had fell apart, and he is taking this opportunity to win. Clemson is in one of the worst moments that I've seen in quite a while with Clemson football. And I am telling you, you can seize the moment or you cannot. And here with Clemson, they need to get back across the board. They need to get back to just calling the simple plays, be very logical, and you can win a lot of the games that you'll play for the remainder of the season. And you're not going to have the season that you should have had. You're not going to the college football playoff. This team, by the way, does not deserve it. This coaching staff as a whole does not deserve. This is not an elite coaching staff. And I want to pause right there. I'm not going to stop talking about this until something is done. And I'm not talking about firing one coach per year. Wonderful. In the next 10 years, the coaching staff will be revamped at this rate. And so I love Coach Sweeney, but he has proven what was working at one time is no longer working. The prestige of Clemson that once was is no longer there. And that the coaching staff that he has today had nothing to do with those 6 consecutive playoffs and 2 national championships in 3 years. When you bring that reality home and you stop being mesmerized by the Oculus at Death Valley and the new Tiger Walk they built, and you realize that all of that really good football playing, coaching, and all that bunch of stuff, all those players and almost every bit of that staff, save, I believe, 2 members, Dabo and Mike Reed, are gone. They haven't been around this program in years. When you do that, you understand why Clemson's where they're at right now. But what they should do is call simple plays, win against Boston College, celebrate for a moment, and then get to work because you have SMU after this. Now, I'm not blown away by SMU. SMU's 4-2, 2-0 in the ACC. They lost to TCU and they lost to Baylor. But this team's not terrible, but they're not incredible. So if you're like, wow, we're getting a rematch of the it's bad. Don't do that. This is a rematch of the ACC championship. Yeah, by teams, yeah. By playing, no. No, not at all. Not at all. It's just embarrassing. But I said this in the video where, well, you couldn't hear me because my mic was unplugged. That's so funny. Feeling ridiculous over here. But I said the coaching staff needs to put the players who's most excited, who's most honored to wear a Clemson uniform and that white paw on the side of their helmet, needs to put them out on the field. I don't care their NIL value. I don't care how much they've been paid. I don't care what their preseason draft projection was. All I care about is that they're excited to play for Clemson. Now, with that said, there are teams right now. There are teams right now who their coaching staff is proven that they know how to take talent, no matter if it's 2-star talent or 5-star talent, and they know how to win with it. Right now, as I'm speaking, Indiana is up 27-20 over Oregon with about 4:12 left. And Indiana stands a good chance of winning this ballgame right now. I didn't say that they would, but they stand a really good chance. In fact, I'm shocked at how good their defense is. Everybody hears about Mendoza, their quarterback, the Cal transfer. But when you sit there and you watch that, and then you turn around and you look at Clemson, and you look at that Clemson is not in a really tough conference, and I know that's a sore subject for everyone, but we need to stop being sore about it. It's true. I think a lackluster conference has covered up the deficiencies over the past 4 or 5 years, if you want to be honest. Now, if you want to lie to yourself and get all defensive, talk trash talk, and do that stuff you see in the forums where people are going back and forth saying dumb stuff, there's no logic to it, that's perfectly fine. You do that. You're a tax-paying American. You can do anything stupid you want. Go for it. But for us who actually gives a rat's rear end about not being a dummy and just spouting off at the mouth, Clemson's schedule has helped cover up a lot over the past 4 or 5 years. And I've been saying it. I've been talking about it. This game is one of those games that Clemson should win, no brainer. No brainer. They should win this ball game. I picked them to win this ball game. I think Boston College is that bad. To give you context, North Carolina, the team Clemson just beat and spent this entire off week, people's talking about if Belichick is actually going to find a way to get out of the job. You know, if North Carolina's can figure out a way to get rid of him, or whatever the narrative is. All I know is that Bill Belichick, a guy who has so many Super Bowls, is making himself look really, really bad. And he's doing it at North Carolina, which makes North Carolina look really, really bad. And then you take the off-the-field stuff that you hear about. And we've heard some doozies of stories about his romantic life and the things that's went on around that. And Bill Belichick is really hurting himself. That's how bad that team was. They're ranked number 92. Boston College is ranked number 88. Clemson should win this game. Not because Clemson's that good, but because Boston College is that bad. And to do that, they need to copy the game plan I talked about last week. I've been talking about for weeks now. Pre-snap motion, run the ball a lot, circulate it between all 4 running backs, take some deep shots down the field, run some receiver sweeps to the wide side of the field, not the short side of the field. I don't know what's up with that. You're trying to get your player out in space, and it's hard to get out in space when you run a sweep to the short side of the field. So that's what you need to do. And on the defensive side of the ball, just pressure. That's it. That's all I care about. Pressure. Intercept the ball, run it back. You go and you win this ball game, guess what? You're at 500 now. You're in between good and whoop-de-doo, right? Whoop-de-doo. I'm going to get in the comment section here and say hello to some people. Tom Brady carried Bill. That fact becomes more and more obvious every day. And you know what? I'm very careful about that, but I'll just leave it here. I think Belichick didn't have to do that much offensively because he had probably one of the best thinkers to ever play in the game. I'm talking about up here. And to be quarterback and win consistently, you have to have it up here. That's why you can have some of these guys who they have all these abilities to run and throw, and they can escape out of the pocket, and it looks like they got sacked, and everybody's wetting their drawers, and I go, yeah, they'll never win a Super Bowl. What do you mean? They'll never win the Super Bowl. They don't have it up here. What do you mean by that? That to be a quarterback, you have to have it up here. Tom Brady had it up here. And that's the reason he won a lot of games. And he did win a Super Bowl after being with the Patriots. We saw that. So, I see that. Jack Shadowitz in here. Jack, it's good to see you, buddy. We need to fire the defensive support cast and let Tom Allen bring in his guys and fire Garrett. Here's my thought on that, which, by the way, it's good to see you. Tell the family I said hello. Been a while. I was in Seneca a couple of weeks ago. Was it a couple of weeks ago? It's all running together, dude. Tell them I said hello. I think that the vast majority of the coaching staff needs to go at this point. They're not. I'm not saying that they'll never be Clemson level coaches, but as of right now, they're not Clemson level coaches. A lot of them has never coached at this level before. We have a high school coach. We have I want to say 2 high school coaches, maybe some college experience there. We have 2 former players running positions on the offense, and this just isn't. It's not Clemson. You listen, folks. You cannot. I don't care how good your school is. If you think you can hire just anyone to come in and coach for you, and that the Tiger Paw, and as much as I love it, is going to be the one that covers a multitude of sins when you don't have that level of coaching on the sidelines, you just don't know football. And that's disrespectful to the coaches who did bust their butt, blood, sweat, and tears, sleepless nights, endless recruiting trips, drinking the 4th pot of coffee while they're working on scheme, developing players. Those guys who actually did it and actually won because of it, you're spitting in their face when you do that. There's a lot of schools right now, like Florida. I mean, I grew up I was born in the early 80s, but when I really got into college football was in the early to mid 90s. And folks, I'm going to tell you right now, from that point up until, I would probably say the Urban Meyer years, Florida football, for the most part, except for the Ron Zook era, was unbelievable. But you know what? That logo can show up, but the team doesn't. And that's what you have to accept. Okay, you don't have to accept anything, folks, when it comes to Clemson. You believe whatever lie you want to, but how are we 2-3? End result. But I agree with you, Jack, that we need to bring in, I go a step farther than you, basically revamp it, and then whoever you bring in, let them run it. I say this respectfully to Coach Swinney. He is not an X's and O's guys, and X's and O guy. And I think that was the magic to it early on. He knew he wasn't, and so he let these guys do what they should do. And now he thinks he knows, and he's 2-3, and it's not working out. Be the face of the program and let experts do what they do and just rack up the championships. That's all you have to do. That's all we really care about. That's it. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. Get to another comment. Cade needs to be Batman, Adam Randall needs to be Robin, and Brian Wesco needs to be Superman. I get it. Don Mitchell, great watching from Pismo Beach, California, even without the sound. God, that's funny. That is so funny. Good to see you, Don. Glad you're in here. Chad Godfrey. It was funny, man. That's right. It's funny. Will, man, run the football, Adam Randall. Run all of them. Run Cade. Howdy, Parker Henderson. Longtime supporter of the channel, by the way. He's a member. He's not only a subscriber, he's a member. He joined month per month. Thank you, Parker Henderson, thank you for being a friend. I just got a copyright strike for that. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. By the way, folks, if you want to support on a monthly basis, there's a join button below the video. It's cheap. Check it out if you want to. At least subscribe. It's free. Pass it along. Appreciate it. Georgia Tech won. Yes. Yeah, Georgia Tech won. I was very concerned about that game. I said, listen, this is a game of focus. Are you focused? They beat Virginia Tech. Yeah, Virginia Tech's bad. They won 35-20. They're 6-0, 3-0 in the ACC. By the way, Texas just beat, I think that went final. Texas just beat Oklahoma 23-6. John Mateer shouldn't have played that game. The guy was still hurting. I said in my show this morning that you they have a really rough stretch towards the end of this, towards the end of this season, and that I know they wanted to win this game today, but losing it, and then most of all losing him, would be bad. And they lost the game, and his hand is still, he looked like he was in pain. I wouldn't have played him. Well, you got to understand with rivalries, people needs to man up. You also have to understand there's more games after this. Sometimes you have to use your thinking brain to make decision and not the crease of your butt. And I love Brent Venables, but I don't think he made the right decision there. Brent's a smart man, and but that I don't think that's going to work out for them. Definitely didn't work out today. Mateer threw a lot of interceptions because of it. He was hurting. He was hurting. So anyway, let's dive into. I'm going to dive into some scores while we're here, because I know we're talking about Clemson. I know we're talking about Boston College, but let me dive into some scores. Right now, Oregon is up 30-20 with about 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter on CBS over Oregon. It's crazy. As I said, Texas beat Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry, 23-6. Right now, Notre Dame is beating the scum out of NC State. I say the scum. It's 36-7. About a minute 20 left in the ball game. And so, Notre Dame, they what? They are, what's their record now? They win today. If they win today, they'll be 4-2. So 4 consecutive wins. They lost the first 2 games of the year by a total of 4 points, and it was to Miami and A&M. People will forgive them for that. Trust me. They will forgive them for that. Right now, third quarter, Tennessee's winning 27-17 over Arkansas. Arkansas has the ball. Third down 5 at their own 41. That's interesting. Ole Miss today almost lost to Washington State. They won 24-21. Almost blew it. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. If you watched my show this morning, you heard me say this. I said, you know what? Iowa State playing Colorado. Colorado is all that is gone except for Dion being there. A lot of that persona and the media craze over them dealt obviously with Dion being there, but what about his sons and his adopted son, Travis Hunter? Well, they're gone. They haven't had a great season. But I said they were playing Iowa State, and I said, it just seems like a game that Iowa State would lose. Iowa State lost. You can go back and listen to me say that this morning. Alabama played really, really close, or Missouri played really, really close with Alabama. Alabama only won by 3 points. And I said I felt like Drinkwitz would make it close. Alabama would pull away, and they really didn't. They won, and they're lucky to get out of Missouri with a win. I can tell you that. And then if you're an ACCer, Florida State is officially 3-3, 0-3 in the conference. They lost to Pittsburgh. Let me tell you this. What they did against Alabama was wonderful, but that game was one game. Florida State has absolutely no defense. They gave up almost 500 yards to Pittsburgh and a new quarterback, a guy that they started last week. They benched the guy that was from Alabama, right? Benched him and brought in this guy. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Hinchel. All I know is that guy went out and threw for 321 against Florida State, and Florida State gave up almost 500 yards of total yards. They can score. They scored 31 points, but they cannot stop a nosebleed on defense. And I'm not talking about like a broken nosebleed. I'm talking about, blew your nose too hard and little pinks coming out. They can't even stop that. It's really, really, that's really, really rough. Cooper Myrick, love your content, Brian. Been listening for years. Go Gamecocks. Good to see you, Cooper. Good to see you in here. Y'all about to play against LSU. And I'm going to tell you, Cooper, I picked LSU to win, not because I think LSU is amazing. My old buddy, Carolina Jackpot, he was in the comment section on my channel this morning. He's like, oh, man, we're, putting down on Garrett Nussmeier. I get it. Here's the thing. I've watched South Carolina play a lot of football this season. And in the preseason, I was one of the very few that went, hey, does it matter that they've lost almost every really good defensive starter that they have? Excuse me. Everybody else was telling me I was full of it, and I didn't know what I was talking. Yeah, their defense is not good. It is shocking, y'all. Y'all are going to go sit on a toilet if you don't have an adult diaper to strap on right now. You're gonna mess up those pants. Okay, don't want that for you. Don't want that. You should be sitting and watching, college football and not having to clean feces off of you. But it's that big of a statement. When you lose most of your starters on your defense that was really good, and when I say most, I'm talking about like 7 or 8 players, shocking, that actually affects you. Unless you're Ohio State or someone like that. And South Carolina is not. And their offensive line, they can't block. Sellers, don't be surprised. And I don't hope this for Sellers whatsoever. I don't hope this for Sellers. I know he's a Gamecock and all this bunch of stuff, but you know me. This is just a game. I love the game. It's just a game. I don't want anyone hurt. With that said, they're going to turn Sellers' knee into hamburger meat or something because they run him. They were running him the other day when they had already won the ball game, and they were still running him. So if the guy ends up blowing out his knee, that's on you. I mean, I agree. Don't take your foot off the pedal, but good grief, you'd won the ball game. You're still running him. He's one of the only things working for. Sellers goes down. Oh, it's good. Yeah. I think it's bad now. But yeah, that game against LSU is the reason I believe LSU is going to win it is not because I believe that they're just amazing. It's that South Carolina they lost that much and it is now showing up to bite them in the butt. Got Joe Hughes in here. Good to see you, my man. Brian W., good to see you. Get on down here to, there's a few more comments that came in here. Oh, my goodness. I skipped a bunch. Brady did not carry Bill. You got to understand that Bill was a defensive mind and he was a strategist. He didn't have any distractions back then and he was hungry to win. I could buy into that, Bloody Knuckles. Good to see you in here. See, Surveyor. What? Good to see you. 200 yards rushing tonight, and I believe that will be a beautiful thing. The one and only Tedo. Tedo, it's good to see you, buddy. Good to see you in here. Email me, if you will, and I'd be happy to give you some tips on starting a channel. I know that was something that you were interested in. So just send me an email. It's tied to my channel here. And if you're still interested, I'll do what I can to help. So I keep thinking of you here and there, and so since we're live, I'll just do that here, right? Good to see you, buddy. Brendan Adams, do you think there's a path to the ACC championship still somehow? Brendan, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this. It's going to sound like that I'm being a jerk to you, and I'm not. I'm not. All right. I get the heart of your question. You're a Clemson fan. You love Clemson. You hate what's went on, but you still have that hope that maybe just something could happen and Clemson could get back on track. I used to be that way too. But as poorly as this team has been coached, the coaches, and I'm just going to stick with the coaches. You could say some players who are probably not giving it their all. Then again, you could say, well, that's because they don't believe in the coaching staff. They know that they're being out schemed, that they're not being developed. Maybe so. But this coaching staff does not need to be rewarded for not preparing the team to be elite or to be just really good and competitive. And when Clemson lost to Georgia Tech, Dabo Swinney infamously walked up to that microphone and he made himself look bad. Whenever a person walks up to a microphone, I don't care how many championships they've won, they walk up and they say, if you're tired of winning, I'll leave. And then he got his butt handed to him by Syracuse at home. That's called humble pie. That's called humble pie. And he would reference last year winning 10 games, winning an ACC championship, and going to the college football playoff. What he did not talk about, and this deals with your question, I'm making this point for a reason. He didn't talk about that Syracuse had to beat Miami. Miami had to fail for Clemson to get in because Clemson didn't earn an ACC championship appearance berth. They didn't. They didn't earn an appearance to go to the college football playoff. Syracuse did that for them because every time Clemson plays a good football team, they lose. So if every time you beat or you play a good football team, you lose, what does that mean? Logically, you're not a good football team. It's just you beat the bad teams and then average and then you want to be proclaimed elite because of accomplishments that you had, goals that you had reached in 2016 and 2018, which, by the way, was unbelievable. Loved every second of it. But that's 9 and 7 years ago. A lot's changed in 9 and 7 years. I don't know about you. I'll be 43 in the next 3 weeks. I mean, when they won that first championship since 1981 back in 16, I was, about a decade younger than what I am right now. And see, people, they're not putting it together there. So I know I'm answering your question in a very long form. There's a lot of layers to it. By the way, folks, Indiana just beat Oregon by 10. Kirk Cignetti's second year at Indiana with a bunch of transfer portal players just went to Oregon and beat probably one of the teams in all of college football that has the most money to blow. And then you'll turn on and watch Clemson tonight, and it's going to be underwhelming. And some of you still think that 16 and 18 was just a year or two ago. It's not. It's past that time. So do you think there is a path to the ACC championship still somehow? This team, especially the coaching staff as a whole, does not deserve to go to the ACC championship. They are not at the level that Clemson needs them to be. This is what happens when you hire a bunch of inexperienced guys who's never coached at this level. This is what you get. And I've been talking about this and talking about this and talking about this and talking about this. And I was the bad guy of Clemson football. And now I had somebody come on my channel the other day and said, I used to totally disagree with you. And now I get it. Now I get it. So is there a path? No. And I'm going to put it this way. A lot of people, Clemson would have to win out. And then a bunch of people would have to fail. And then Clemson would be rewarded by someone else's failure. Clemson used to go out and win, whether you wanted them to win or not. People could succeed or fail, and Clemson still succeeded. That's championship level football. Clemson doesn't operate that way now. And the coaching staff definitely doesn't operate that way now. Scheme without in-game adjustments has become the standard, unfortunately. I get what you say. Scheme without in-game adjustments has become the standard, unfortunately. Oh yeah. And that's the marks. That's the marks of a coaching staff that is either being influenced or doesn't. They don't have the experience. to make the changes. I said this earlier today. I've said this before. And it's really cheesy, but it's really true. It's hard to take someone somewhere you've never been. I'm going to say that again in a little better way. It's hard for me to take you to a place I've never been. It's hard for me to give you something I don't have. This coaching staff as a whole does not have the expertise to guide these players to the level that Clemson was used to seeing them operate in. There we go. Oh, man. Going through here. See, Batman and Robin and Superman joke was funny. That's funny. Joseph Dorff, would you want Newhastle as our new OC? Oh, my God. Very good question. By the way, I got a bunch of you getting in here. The game kicks off in about 15 minutes. Let me give context to what Joseph is asking. So, Rick Newhastle coached for years, different teams and so on. He was offensive coordinator, I want to say, for Colorado back in the day, like back when they were unbelievable. Cordell Stewart, those teams. My memory serves me correct. Of course, his son played for UCLA, maybe at the same. No, it wasn't at the same time. I don't think so that he was there. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, last week, UCLA 0-4, playing Penn State, and they had just fired their head coach, and then something happened with the DC and the OC. They're no longer with the school. Jerry Newhastle, Rick Newhastle's son, 33 years old. They say, from what I understand, yeah, you're calling the offensive plays this week. He said they had 2 days to practice the game plan. Last week, he went out and beat Penn State. And today, he coached and beat the crap out of Michigan State. And you could say, well, Michigan State's not that good. Have you seen UCLA up until Newhastle started calling the plays? So I'm going to pump the brakes on Jerry Newhastle, but I'll tell you this. I have seen more good play calls consistently. That's the key. Consistently out of Jerry Newhastle in 2 ball games than I've seen out of Clemson's offense in quite a while. And I'm not just talking about Garrett. I'm talking about a while. A while. I'm afraid we're going to owe Garrett an apology because I think someone's influencing his play calling. Could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. Wouldn't be breaking a streak. The only way that I want anyone to come in, to answer your question, Joseph, if he proves himself, sure, I'd take him. Just don't. Here's the thing. If you hire him, let him call his plays. He doesn't need to learn the Clemson playbook that has now yielded a 2-3 season and that folds like a lawn chair anytime they play a really good football team. And that's what happens now. Clemson hasn't beat a top 10 team in forever. But I right now I'm liking Jerry Newhastle. I'm pulling for him. I hope he continues to do well. Hope it doesn't go to his head. I hope he takes that hunger, that desire, and everything and goes nuts. Hey, how about Penn State, fellas? Wow, yeah. I said in the preseason that James Franklin's made a lot. Listen, James Franklin has made a lot of money coaching. James Franklin has won a lot of games. He is not. You go look up his record against top football teams. Go do it. It's not good. And I said, I will not believe it until I see it. And guess what, folks? It's funny how history repeats itself. Tiger Red Devil said Indiana is up. Yeah, Indiana just won. Yeah. Indiana played Clemson right now. They'd beat the crap out of them. It could be a night game in Death Valley. Indiana would wear them out. And I'll tell you this, when you look at Kirk Cignetti, there's no question what Kirk Cignetti's goal is. There's no question. Win football games. Win football games. Going through here. Here's a good question. Chad Goffrey, BC quarterback, thoughts on him. I'm going to be honest with you. I know I should probably know a little something about him, but I mean, I know he's thrown for about 1,300 yards. He looks like he could be a problem, potentially, but I don't know that much about him. I do know that they're 1-4. I do know that O'Brien can coach, but he's probably in a bad situation, probably regretting moving to the greater Boston area. Don Mitchell, the loss to Syracuse kind of sank the ACC championship possibility. I would love to have seen what happened with Syracuse if Steve Angeli would have stayed healthy. I hate that he went down. He was the second leading passer by passing yards in the country when he played against Clemson. And then, of course, he got injured in that game. And that did that. Since then, Syracuse has been a joke. I mean, Duke beat them by, 30? They don't look good. Don't look good at all. Sad. Agree with the statement. It's going to take a losing season for coaching overhaul. Understand, like you, I love my Tigers, but coaching has been bad for the past couple of years. That's what I'm trying to get at right here. Clemson goes out and there's a statement that I've made and some people disagree with it. That's totally fine. I'm just going to remind you that up until a couple of weeks ago, we were still hearing about how we had 10 wins last year. Now we're 2-3. We see that the wheels have come off. If Clemson makes just a decent season, wins 8 games, win 9 games, there'll be no coaching overhaul. Maybe one coach, but that's not what the Tigers need. That's not what they need at all. And for anyone who's like, well, listen, coaching staff is fine. I think they've got it under control. 2-3 is not under control. I don't know what football you've been watching. I don't know what school you've been pulling for in the past, but that's not winning. That's not winning. Oh, Greg, free Bobby Durkins. You never know. You never know. These coaches are not elite coaches. Yeah, you're right. Yep, you're right. Let me see. Really hate orange britches for a non-championship game. Yeah, but you've got to remember, David, that now every game's a championship for us. Duke, Boston College, Troy. I heard Bobby needs bail money. Bobby needs a lot of things. Ron Rivera, new OC. I don't know about that. Will, man. So what happens when elite coaches refuse to come to Clemson because of the head coach micromanaging? You'll have to deal with that. I don't want Sweeney fired. And on top of that, you can't fire him for several reasons. A, he won you 2 national championships. This guy could literally decide tomorrow that he's going to ensure that we win only 2 games for the next 4 or 5 years until his contract runs out. And there's absolutely nothing Clemson can do. Because if you fire him, you're firing a guy that gave you 2 national championships. Now, for anyone who's like, hey, we don't need to fire him because he did give us those 2 national championships, I think he's going to turn it around. I'm not so sure about that, but you can't fire the guy. You can't fire him. It is what it is. But Clemson, because of the head coach micromanaging, I don't know. We will see. Chase Henderson, my old buddy, may there be. It almost sounds English, the old country language, as Andy Griffith would say. May there to you. A longtime supporter of the show, friend of the show, friend of mine. Chase, it's good to see you, buddy. Good to see you in here. Always good to hear from one of the Henderson sisters. Who's at the top of your suspect list for the ghost play caller for Riley then? Coach Sweeney. I believe that over the past 2 or 3 years, Coach Sweeney has said things that lets us know that he has a particular offense, a particular way that he wants it implemented. Some people have even said that they believe that the old playbook that Jeff and Tony pulled together with him, he's still trying to run something like that. I don't know if that's true or not. But here's what I do know. This offense is the scheme for the past 5 years especially has been bad, and it just keeps getting worse. So, if Coach Sweeney is like, hey, I won with this or some form of this, and we're going to keep running it. Yeah, the other teams knows what you're running. And overall, it's not, it's weird how the plays will go from really, really creative, taking shots down the field, using the tight end, pre-snap motion, moving the pocket, running Cade, and then all of a sudden it stops. Doesn't make sense. Even a blind man could see it. Let me see. That's a great question, Tiger Tom. I talked with a former player under West this week. I asked him, what do you think is going on with the offense? He responded immediately with Riley. Riley has to go. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Let me see. Well, I've been saying for 2-3 years now that Streeter is still calling by cell phone. Yeah, it seems like it. Zion Madden telling you, go get Jimbo Fisher as the OC. Chase, he went on to say Riley thinks that he can call the same plays as he did in the Big 12. This is the Southeast. We play ball faster than any other region. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Whoever's calling what, it just, the only thing that matters is the result, right? Whoever's calling what, it has to stop. I'm a results guy, folks. I want to let y'all, if y'all don't know me personally, I'm a results guy. I'm pretty hard on myself. I also don't have a problem laughing at myself, like just a second ago when I started the video and I had a cable unplugged and I was mute. It was funny. I'll pick at myself, but I'm also hard on myself. And the only thing that I care about is the result. Of course, I want to do it the ethical, right way. But if I go in and I do something and the result is not there, I don't care how much time I've put into it. I don't care that it was me that did it. At the end of the day, the result is all that matters. And that's what I look at here. I don't know who's calling what. All I know is it has to stop. Because this is not the good old days of Clemson. Good old days of Clemson's over, folks, as we know it. Good to see you, buddy. We throw too many bubble screens. I think it's kind of obvious. By the way, there's a lot of teams that throws the ball out in the flat too many times. It used to be like a wrinkle you would throw in. And now a lot of teams will run this as their identity. And any play that you run as your identity, delayed draws, quarterback keeper, if you run that quarterback jump pass all the time, everybody knows it's coming. And so it's just not no. There's nobody at that BC game. Place looks empty. Yep, BC Stadium is empty. Hey, folks, I'll tell you this. When they were, number 3 in the country and Matt Ryan was there, you remember, I want to say that ESPN went through Boston, started asking people about Boston College. Are they really proud of them? They knew nothing about Boston College. Why? Because they have the Bruins, the Red Sox, the Patriots, and the Celtics. Boston College at number 3 in the country didn't even land on the speck of their windshield when it came to sports. Much less now. Chase Henderson. Wait, I know you personally? Yes! I personally know you too. Folks, I'm going to go watch a football game. It's going to be interesting. I'll see you back here at halftime. If you haven't subscribed, it's free. Hopefully you will subscribe and pass it along to your buddies. Check out my other channel, another college football podcast. Y'all take care of yourself.